25/8 is in the business of time. We help leaders of small and medium-sized businesses work smarter, not harder, so they feel like they have an extra hour in the day and day in the week. Go from don't know what I don't know to I can't miss this show, as we talk proven strategies, practical tips and insider insights from a diverse range of industry leaders. Make time to grow your capabilities and confidence with 25/8. There's a quote by Helen Keller: "A bend in the road is not the end of the road unless you fail to make the turn," that I think is useful for business owners to consider. I've spent the last 11 years working with small and medium-sized business leaders, and there have definitely been a lot of bends in my journey, and I feel like I'm currently navigating another. This is Make Time and the last episode of Season 1. I'm going to talk to you about one of the most important things to get right early on, how we've navigated this journey, and what's coming up for you in Season 2. One of the most important things to get right early on in business is to understand the problem that you solve or how you make something better. And the reason this is so important at those early stages is that finding customers should be your main focus, and knowing the exact problem you solve transforms your message, your value proposition, from being generic to something that resonates. And in a very noisy and competitive world, the smaller we are, the more our message needs to resonate. And if we get this right, we get more return from the effort we put in. And if you've ever played paintball or any other computer game where you have a target, having a clear message is kind of like being a sniper and focusing in on the exact target. You have a higher chance of hitting than if you just started shooting off everywhere to everyone, where you might hit something, but it'll take a lot of effort. One of the advantages I've had is knowing this, so that you can imagine this is really important for me to get right in my own business. And collecting information about a business's challenge has been a fundamental practice since the beginning. So over the years, I've started to see patterns. Now, external research suggests that 20% of new small businesses fail within their first year, and roughly 50 to 60% fail within 5 years. Only about 33% last 10 years. And most of the research cites cash flow problems, not enough coming in and too much going out. And they say this is the biggest cause. And then strategic planning, which could be a lack of validated business model or not adapting when things change, bad leadership or bad management, external economic pressures. Now, some of these you could consider to be external, out of the control of the business owner. However, each and every one of these can be solved by making a different decision. I'm not saying that external pressures don't play a part in business survival, but what I am saying is that businesses that thrive do so because of the decisions that the business owners have made. Businesses don't usually fail because people are incapable, though. They fail because they've made decisions based on the knowledge they have at that time. And often that knowledge just isn't enough for the situation that they're in. What got them to there, to here, isn't enough to get them to the next stage. So this was what I wanted to solve. How do I help small business owners gain the knowledge they need to make decisions that help their business thrive? The other reason was I saw lots of people being sold things that they didn't need. And so having knowledge, having some idea about how things work would give them power to make better decisions about that too. So not as much money needed to go out. Early on, I thought the biggest issue to people gaining that knowledge was time. You know, business owners are busy. They're in the day-to-day. They don't always have the space to step back and think strategically or recognize the gaps that they might have. And so I designed programs that help people work on the strategic planning of the business in a short amount of time. And that helped. But not everyone finished. And you may think, oh, but Sam, no one finishes courses. And you're right, average rates of completion are quite low. For free and online, it's often no more than 15%. Higher education around 40%, and corporate e-learning about 30%. At that time, we said around 60%. But it mattered to me because I knew how transformative it could be for the business and for the individual if they did finish, if they got to the end and had an idea about what they were going to do. So I kept looking for the real reason that not everyone completed. And at that time, the team thought that it could be relevance. Perhaps it's because some of the content isn't relevant to that business at that stage. And so actually this started our research and development era, and we started to utilize AI, machine learning, this is pre-ChatGPT, to understand how we can diagnose, but then really make content relevant to each learner. Both myself and one of the team had been taught by John Hattie, a professor at University of Melbourne, and he's known for his research on visible learning. And so this influenced our work, and we were able to personalize the learning experience for people based on a diagnostic. And this definitely improved things, but we still didn't get 100%. We wanted to understand even further. Could it be that we needed to personalize it even further? Could it be that making it interest-based or hyper-personalized to the individual would increase the relevance and the completion rates? And the rate of improvements with AI at the time meant that we thought it was going to be possible to generate content based on each individual user. We even got to proof of concept stage and thought of all the possibilities, individualized and personalized, interest-based reading books for kids, for example. But fundamentally, was this the actual reason people didn't complete our programs? And our business had been supporting our R&D efforts for about 4 years, but changing circumstances meant that I had to make a decision, another bend in the road at that time, to reduce our investment time and money away from our R&D and back into business as usual. I knew at that time the diagnostics worked, that personalized learning worked, and I knew then that it was an individual issue, and that's why we'd gone down the hyper-personalization route, because why would some people finish and not others? And I started to look at success factors outside of just knowledge acquisition, because really, it isn't about just what you know, it's putting that knowledge into action. The people who finished, the ones who took what they learned and put it into action, were the ones who were intrinsically motivated. And this took me back to some of those things that I'd learned through my masters around self-efficacy and confidence. They were clear on what they wanted and why it mattered to them. And there were some often hidden human elements that greatly impact our success, our understanding of our own value, self-worth being one of them. And now with AI embedded into our programs, we've made it even easier to learn and apply. The programs are still shorter than traditional study, but more meaningful than a one-off workshop. And they're still tailored and practical and designed for relevant business stages. But more importantly, we focus on the human side too, around clarity, motivation, confidence, decision-making, and overcoming some of those tricky hidden human things that sometimes get in our way, because that is actually what drives progress. We help fill the gaps in leadership, business, and digital knowledge and their skills to apply that in their business situation right now, whilst working on the human elements that ensure success. Our diagnostics help us to do this really quickly, which is really valuable when you're faced with the pressure to make decisions right now and not in 6 months' time when you finish the course. It also helps you make the decisions yourself rather than relying on anyone else to make them for you. So it means that you're better at making decisions in the future too. So that is the problem that we solve at 25H, helping business leaders build the capability to make their own better decisions and take actions towards a clear goal that gives them the best result now and when they're under pressure for changing circumstances in the future too. It's about your ability and confidence to decide what to do each day, and not just when things are going well, and be able to execute on that, be able to do the thing you need to do that will help you to thrive. And just like an elite sprinter has a support team to help them get faster, small business owners can now have a support team to help them build their decision-making muscles. So whether they're leading people or navigating change, they can build a business that works and lead in a way that's aligned with who they are. And that is the bend in the road for 25/8. It's not quite a hairpin bend, more of a slight curve, as we've been doing this for a while, but not quite all together, with the human elements mixed with the learning elements, mixed with the digital and AI practice as well. We're still about time. We want to help you do things quickly. It's all about building your own abilities so you have more confidence in yourself to lead your business rather than rely on anything external. And so this is kind of like a natural conclusion to the first season of Make Time, where we're talking about business and digital and leadership, to now move into season 2, where we'll go deeper into what it really takes to build capability across leadership, business and digital, and how to apply that in a way that actually works in your business, but then also the human elements that ensure its success. Human capability, so you can build clarity and motivation and resilience, and leadership capability, so you can make decisions and lead others with confidence, even if that's just yourself. Business capability, so you understand how to grow, structure and sustain your business. And digital capability, so you can use AI and technology in a way that genuinely improves how you operate, all in a way that you can apply, refine and use in your business straight away. So you may have encountered a bend in your road. If you want to build your muscles to make the decisions that help you safely navigate the bend now and in the future, please join us for season 2. And thank you if you've been listening to this season. I hope you've enjoyed it, and hope the move now, as we go deeper into that capability building, will prove more valuable to you as the year progresses. Thanks. Thanks for listening to Make Time, a business podcast by 25/8. If you like the show, please take a moment to write a review and feedback on what you'd like to hear next. If you never want to miss an episode, hit subscribe or follow on your favourite listening channel. If you want to get even smarter, join our newsletter, community, or take one of our programs. Links down below. See you next time.